I think I started having astral travel experiences when I was very young, even though I didn't really understand what it was until I was about 12 or 13. My earliest memories of anything similar go back to when I was around 3, almost 4. The first memories I have in my whole life are always connected to these strange situations that have somehow followed me. I remember my dad had a friend who had a small ranch, comfortable, like more of a country house, right beside the road, about 20 or 30 minutes outside the city. That place was something my family visited again and again, even before I was born. I clearly remember the first time I stored it in my memory. I was playing with a small goat and a German shepherd puppy that kept biting the soles of my shoes. At some point that day, I fell asleep. When I woke up, we were already arriving home. My dad was carrying me from the car to my bed. They left me in the guest room I shared with my older sister. They left the door open, and the others went on to eat dinner. I listened for a while until I fell asleep again. And then I woke up. Or at least, that's what it felt like. But what woke me wasn't the usual kind of awakening. It was cold and desperate howling. When I opened my eyes, I was near a tree at the ranch where we'd visited that morning. I don't remember what I told myself in that moment, what I thought or how I reasoned it, but I do remember being terrified. I started screaming for my parents. I remember the porch light turning on, and seeing the figure of someone coming out, as if to investigate the commotion. Then I woke up in the morning at home, in my mom's arms, not knowing what had happened during the time before. My mom had brought me to sleep with her because I wouldn't stop crying in my sleep all night. It's possible I had other dreams, where I'd wake up and find myself in strange places inside the house. But the ones that truly stayed with me were the ones where, without warning, I'd wake up far away, in complete darkness, in nothingness. When my grandfather died, we traveled to my grandparents' house, about 2 hours from where we lived. On the way back, my dad stopped several times. He would stop whenever my mom couldn't handle the crying anymore and asked him to pull over. My dad would let her cry. He would let her break down, scream if she needed to. When she tried to hug him, she would tell him to move away. My dad would take my sister and me by the hand and walk a bit so she could have privacy in those moments. On one of those stops near a small ravine, there was a pickup truck lying there as if it had crashed not long ago. It was empty. We approached out of curiosity, though really, it was to distract ourselves while my mom recovered. My dad picked up stones and threw them at the truck door in a mechanical way, like someone stuck in shock, like a zombie, still impacted by the fact that he couldn't help my mom the way he wanted to. I went down the ravine toward the truck. When I leaned in, trying to see blood or anything like that, I only saw a small snake on the passenger seat. That tiny snake was enough to make me scream in fear and run back up the ravine to my dad. That night, after I was told to sleep as if everything were normal, I woke up there, next to the crashed truck, in that ravine. I was only 6 years old, and once again I was dead terrified. And it wasn't a dream. It felt so real that I could feel grass and tiny thorns cutting into my bare feet as I climbed, full of panic. The road was empty, until the lights of a car blinded me. The sound of the horn rattled me, dazed me. When it passed very close, the car stopped a few meters ahead. I rushed over to ask for help, but I blacked out. I woke up in the house, still early in the morning. I woke my sister and told her what had happened. She said it was just a dream. I believed her. I believed it for a long time, until I realized what was really going on. In my family, no one believed me about the astral travels I had so continuously. Not even an aunt I trusted, someone who loved ghost stories and legends. Even she didn't believe me. But in middle school, I made new friends. One of them, someone who's still close to me today, constantly invited me to his house. His mother was a very spiritual woman. Somehow, she explained more about my strange dreams. She helped me realize what it was, astral travel. She taught me not to fear it, to control it a bit, and to take advantage of it. That changed everything I thought about the experience. I was 12 when I understood just how difficult it would be to live with this for the rest of my life. Then, in the middle of the year, my other grandfather died, halfway through summer vacation. This time the situation hit me harder because I was older, old enough to understand death better, and because I'd always been very close to him since we lived near his house. My grandfather was very religious. He always stayed involved with his church, and it wasn't strange to find priests, nuns, or someone from the church community at his home when we visited. So when we watched him at the funeral home downtown, I wasn't surprised to see many of these church figures around. We kept the vigil all night. There were priests and nuns walking around. Around 3 in the morning, after I got tired of talking to some cousins, I fell asleep. I woke up only minutes later, confused. At that moment, only family remained, the church father, and 2 of my grandfather's best friends. Outside the room, just a few meters away, another priest was watching us closely. He didn't move. When I woke and looked toward him, I couldn't make out his expression. I couldn't tell whether he looked like he was suffering greatly, or if he was smiling ear to ear. I got up and left the room to make my dad some coffee. But when I passed by where that man had been standing, I realized he was no longer there. The next morning, we buried my grandfather in a huge cemetery, one of the oldest in the city. It was so large it even had a small hill that split it into 2 sections. When we got home, the morning seemed to land fully and completely on me. I felt like I was sick. I stayed in bed the rest of the day. Around 9 at night, I fell into a deep sleep and then woke up. I woke up in the cemetery, near my grandfather's grave, still covered with wreaths of flowers. It was 9 in the evening, but everything looked abnormally bright, maybe due to the moon, maybe because of daylight saving time. It didn't seem that late, even though the cemetery was supposed to be closed by that hour. At first, I thought it was part of my grief. I told myself this trip was normal, something connected to the intense emotions I had just lived through. I decided to talk to my grandfather, because I hadn't had the chance to speak with him over the previous days. But before I could finish even a single sentence meant for him, I heard a distant laugh that interrupted me. It's difficult to explain this, but in the astral experiences I've had, I rarely hear other people's voices clearly. Usually I can only hear barking dogs and other animal sounds. Yet this laugh was extremely clear, even though it sounded far away. The cemetery was enormous. It couldn't be the sound of people from nearby streets, and it was very isolated. When I tried to continue my message, the laugh grew closer and louder the moment I spoke again. I stopped. At a certain distance, behind a grave with the figure of an angel crying, I saw a figure. The silhouette of a priest. Something about it made me feel that it was the same priest I had noticed earlier that morning, outside the funeral home room where we were keeping the vigil. He was peeking from behind that angel, looking toward me, smiling. Smiling, now it was unmistakable. Before I could think again about my grandfather, I saw the priest run toward me, fast, until he hid behind another grave a few meters away. His hair was white, long, almost to his shoulders, but it looked sparse, thin. And the man didn't look truly old. Normally, when I get startled in these travels, when I get scared, I snap back to my bed right then. But this time was different. I was terrified beyond words. I stayed there, frozen by fear. You know when you have dreams where someone is chasing you, and you have to run, but your legs turn stiff, or you can't move, or you just can't escape? Imagine that exact thing happening to me. Still, I had the certainty that part of me was really there in the cemetery, a few meters away from that thing. As the priest's laughter grew more intense, and as I saw his eyes appear again behind my grandfather's grave, I heard a voice call my name. In an instant, I woke up in my house. I woke up. I ran, left my room, and hugged my parents. Even to this day, I have the feeling that the one who woke me up that time was my grandfather, though the voice wasn't his. Whoever wants to have an astral travel experience should know that not everyone can do it safely. Depending on how sensitive you are, it can become very dangerous. You don't know what you might run into on that plane. I was about to learn that lesson the worst possible way. My experience was only just beginning.